Welcome to the 2022 Kentucky Bourbon Festival and the first edition of the Bourbon 30 Talk Show. This is sponsored by Great Western Malting. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Bourbon 30 Talk Show. This is sponsored by Great Western Malting, one of our fabulous sponsors. If you don't know much about malting, it's part of whiskey. You got to have malt in most cases to make whiskey. So this is just part of the industry. There's so many layers that maybe a lot of people don't know about beyond the bottles. I'm Steve Coomes. I'm the host of Bourbon 30. This is our first time at the talk show, and this is the 7 minutes delayed edition. But we had a couple of guys who were going to talk to us a little bit later has stepped up and going to help us out. This is Team Luca Mariano, Francesco, and David. How are you guys?
Real good.
How are you? Francesco's, I'm fantastic. I'm really fantastic. You bailed me out. Go Team Italy.
Yeah.
So I first came across the brand a couple of years ago, I guess, when we were getting ready to do a barrel pick. And as these things happen, was that your first kind of like big party for the brand?
That's right. Yeah,
it was raining cats and dogs. We were out in the middle of a muddy field in some big tents, and these guys were game and showing us a great party to turn us on to their whiskey. So, Francesco, talk a little bit about the whiskey and its genesis and what we're going to be drinking today right over there if you go sample.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. So I got my start. I started distilling with my grandfather in his garage when I was about 7 years old in the 80s, and we distilled.
That was totally legal.
Yeah,
even the 7-year-old part, right?
Yeah, that's right. But we had fun. I mean, my grandfather and I, we did a lot of great things together. He taught me how to garden, how to can tomatoes, and do all sorts of things. But where we really bonded and had a good time as I got older was through making bourbon. And he passed away in 1999, gave me his equipment, and in 2010 I started bringing it out and trying to remember my grandfather, and I really enjoyed it. And I invited all my neighbors over to have a big party. I was smoking meat at the time, and
smoking meat. It almost sounded like meat. Smoking weed at the time.
No, smoking meat like pork ribs and things like that. But I had a big party, and one of my neighbors, he was always a wise guy, and he's always like picking on everybody, and he was picking on me that this was illegal, and I didn't know. I mean, I was born in America, second one in my family. My parents came over from Sicily, and I had no idea it was illegal because, when you're from a foreign family, you're kind of a foreigner, even though in many ways. And so I found out it was illegal. My attorney got me a license, and we decided to make a business out of it. And today we're announcing our master distiller, David Phillips, and this is a big day for him.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a.
Tell them, David. They probably tasted a lot of whiskey you made. Tell them your background.
Oh goodness. So yeah, I've been in the industry for 18 years. 13 years with Jim Beam at the Bourbon Distillery. Some time at Claremont also. Last 5 years I've been with the Bullet Distillery in Shelbyville. So.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Oh yes, last 5 years we're with Bullet. So yeah, have had some awesome teachers along the way. Had a chance to work with Beam back in the day with Jerry Dalton, the then master distiller back then, and
legend.
Fred No.
Still a
some
legend.
time with him, but probably the biggest influence was my mentor Larry Walker, and he was at Booker No, took me under his wing, and.
Anybody had any of those whiskeys from there? Maybe.
Yeah, we
some Bookers, Knob Creek.
That's right.
All those.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's so cool for you to have this opportunity to come aboard. Who found who?
So that's a crazy story because I decided to, with my HR department, to really we wanted to find our master distiller on our own. So we started doing research and looking at every company that we respect and looking at who works for them. And so we had all these names out and these bios that we created. And so we approached David, but I'm not looking for a job, but I'm on LinkedIn but he sent me a message 2 years earlier on LinkedIn that I never read. So we both kind of found each other.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah. So yeah, about 2 years ago, I sent him a message. Didn't hear anything, and sometimes that's usual in it.
That's
But
right.
but yeah, it's been awesome the last month or so, and the vision this guy has going into this, it was a no-brainer for me to join up with him.
That's excellent.
Yeah, we're really building something special in Danville. We have 553-acre farm it's all working towards the same purpose, and that's to build a good quality product. It's a working farm. We have cattle on the farm. We grow our own corn and wheat, and this year it's in the soybean rotation, so those will be harvested here shortly. But we're really building a destination for people to come and experience how bourbon's made, and for people to really enjoy it and eat our food, drink our drinks, and listen to some great music and have a good time.
So when did the brand come to market? The Luca Mariano brand.
So the very first time I did a test launch in Nashville in 2014, and then I decided I wanted to do some more work to tweak it, and so we sold everything we had. Everyone enjoyed it, but then we decided that we wanted to have a longer aging product, not such a younger product. So we launched our first 4-year bourbon in 2019, and since then our products have gotten older and older. And so we have the Old Americana Rye and Bourbon. It's a 5-barrel, small batch, 5-year, 89 proof. And then we have our Luca Mariano single barrel. And we have a Rye and a Bourbon. It's 103 proof. That's 7 years old. And we have the Gianna Loren. It's a special release for the next few years. It's 97 proof. That's a low rye, so it
Yes.
kind of drinks like a bourbon. It's right there on the border, 55% rye, 45% corn, and it's really a great product. We're selling that bottle out of all of our bottles. You can buy out of our booth if you'd like. But that one we saved a few cases from July's release, so if anybody would like to try that. And then here's my signature. This is released every year at the Bourbon Festival, so we did a special barrel at the Bourbon Festival for this. And then, throughout the year, it's only released on my birthday, which is January 17th, and that happened to be the first day of Prohibition. So we celebrate Prohibition, celebrate my signature, and this is just a few days shy of 7 years. It's barrel strength at 119.4 proof.
It's got a beautiful color.
Thank you. And it's fantastic. So it's 51% corn, and the balance is malted barley. And it drinks like a bourbon, but it has notes like you're drinking maybe a scotch. So
That's fantastic. And that's going to be poured? over in the
all
booth?
of these are being poured there, and they're all for sale. This one is about half sold out, so we've already sold nearly half the barrel. So if anybody wants it,
You get to try before you buy. What a
Yeah.
place.
That's right.
How many
That's
liquor
right.
stores let you do that? They charge you. They have to charge you. Talk about why you got into the industry, because you've made your living in, you said, heat transfer screen.
yeah. So when I went to Michigan State University, and I came from an immigrant family, so I had to work in order to help get through school. So
Yeah.
I couldn't sit there, and do some of the jobs that were available. 'Cause I needed to move around, and so what I decided to do was sell T-shirts. So I bought a heat press, and I've bought T-shirts, and I'd screen print by using a heat transfer and heat applied onto the garment. And then I gave up law school, which was a great choice. I'm so happy I didn't go to law school. I mean,
And little did you know, the
and-
business you were going to go into had everything about it that's legal.
yeah.
Litigious, I
Yeah.
should say. Yeah.
So I started Versatrans and DesignShirts.com in 2000, and we started making heat applied imprints, and that's really what's helping me build our dream, our distillery. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, we don't have any investors. We don't have any big money behind us. It's all me it's all financed by me, and that's why we're taking our time to do it right.
Is there kind of a fraternity of sorts in the business now for people like you guys, even maybe people who have had another business done exceptionally well and had decide to go in as an entrepreneur in the bourbon industry? I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are getting into the business.
Peerless,
Yeah.
Log Still, Wilderness Trail. Who else is out there? Bourbon Pursuit. I'm just looking around the place here. Penelope, Blue Note. All these people had successful careers elsewhere and just thought, I don't know, maybe turn a fortune into a small fortune.
Right, exactly. Well, maybe not that. I mean, but I mean, like, it's so screen printing for me. Like when I went to Michigan State, I never even wore a screen printed shirt because being Italian, we always wore like button down and wore certain things. So I love my screen printing business. I really do. But my love and heart and passion is in bourbon, and it's something I've always drank, even when it wasn't trendy back in the day. And this is what I want to do the rest of my life, and close out the second half of my life in Danville. You know, building our distillery and sharing it with everybody.
What's the timeline on the distillery opening?
Hopefully by summer. Yep.
Summer of 2023? Wow, that's fantastic.
Yep. So
David, how did you get into the business?
How did I get into the business? Well, I was in South Florida. I'd been married for about a year. My wife and I are both from Owensboro, Kentucky, and
they used to have a few distilleries there.
A
like
few,
20 before
yeah.
Prohibition, right?
Exactly. So, we decided to move back to Kentucky. Saw an opportunity open at Beam. I applied for it, and next thing you know, we're in the back of a truck with a U-Haul heading to Bardstown. So,
what position? I mean, did you have any distilling experience?
No, I had absolutely zero experience. Within 30 minutes of my initial application with them, I was denied the job. So I sat down I got that little electronic boot that sorry, but I sat down, hand wrote them a letter, told them I'm from Western Kentucky, and I can come back. I don't need reassistance. I don't need relocation. None of that. So yeah, we loaded up the car, came back. The day we closed on our house here in town was the day the Beam warehouse burnt. So we're saying
one in Millville.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're no.
Not the old Grand.
The one up here in town, one back here behind town.
So that's what 2014.
Yes. So we're sitting there signing our names, signing the paper, and the realtor goes, "You sure you want to do this?" So yeah, that started my career. I came in as a distillery relief supervisor, so I worked at both the Claremont and the Booker Noe distillery, given time off. I did that, and during that time, that's when I said I got to work with Jerry Dalton and Fred Noe a couple of days a week, and kind of got some tutelage from them.
So, I mean, people could look at it as it's manufacturing, because it really is. But where does the passion come in beyond using, really significant machinery to turn corn into liquid?
Where does the craft come into play?
For you. I mean, okay. So what's so different about what the machinery of screen printing does? Because it's just
right.
Versus what a still does in terms of it just being manufactured. What gets you excited about that?
Well, I mean, for me, like with screen printing, like we created our own technology, our own heat transfer, and if you ever were to work with our product, there really is nobody in the world that's ever been able to duplicate our chemistry behind the product.
So that sounds kind of cool and kind of passion-driven.
Well, it is. I love what I do, and I believe that we're applying that to Luca Mariano as well. Our product, although everyone makes great bourbon and great rye whiskey, we're taking things and doing things a little bit different. And you'll see when you come to and visit us in a couple years when we're open to the public, our look and feel, everything that we do, we want to be different. We want to add value to the bourbon industry, not try to replicate somebody else out there. And as you can see with our bottles, there's a little bit of old world with modern looks to it. And so we didn't want anything to look like anybody else's. We wanted our mash bills that I worked really hard developing to taste different than everybody else's. And there is a little bit of craft and a little bit of things that we do slightly different than everybody else. With growing our own corn, we can control the moisture content in our corn so that we can dial in and do things slightly different than others. Our barrel, before it's assembled at Independent Stave, we aged the wood for 18 months. before assembling and charring it. And if anyone's ever had a bonfire, you take 3 to 6 month old wood, it just smokes. And that's going to give you different flavors than if you let the wood properly age and go through 6 seasons.
Right.
And it's going to give you a different flavor profile. And when we worked with older woods, it just started to give it a different, kind of basement type smell and taste to it. So
Yeah.
18 months did well for us. And then we have other secrets that we're working on to make even better improvements with the distillation process and maybe push our yeast a little bit further than we have already.
So you have been. So who's been creating your product up until now, or do you want to share that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I have a non-disclosure, but I can say it because they happened to show some people and it got published, so I can say it now. Fred Minnick took photos and made it public, so thanks, Fred. I appreciate that. But so when we make our product at Wilderness Trail, it's only our mash bill, it's nobody else's. And we're there present when it's being made. It's not like it's contract distilled. So we're there making sure things meet our specifications. And they've been great to work with. And
Yeah.
we're ready to graduate and do our own thing starting next year.
So give me an idea what the actual distilling equipment, David. Are you consulting on that, or Francesco? Do you already have that designed and you're just going to tell him to run it?
So he's been with us, helping us for several months. And so he's the mastermind behind it.
All right, so let's talk about the tools.
Well, they had a great start going. So they've been working with Vendome on numerous parts of it.
Like how large is the still going to be?
18-inch. We're going to start with 18-inch column steel and 7 fermenters. So yeah, it's to get our feet on the ground and get going and pumping out our own juice.
So what's the context? Maybe 25 barrels a day, something like that.
More around
On a
45.
per shift.
40,
Yeah, 45?
Yeah, 45 barrels a day
Yeah.
about. Yep. So that's where it'll be. But we do have a much larger industrial distillery that we plan to build. And we had planned to start in June, but we 2 weeks before we were ready to break ground on it, there became this barrel shortage. So I could build it, but there would be nowhere to put our barrels. So
Oh my gosh.
nowhere to put the juice in. So we're postponing that until we can get our barrels lined up. But that distillery will have different capabilities.
So there is a larger one in the works. Even
There
beyond
is.
that. Wow.
Yep. It's all designed, ready to go. So
The guy really does have an amazing vision for the next 6-7 years in Danville, and once it gets done, I keep telling him, Francesco, this is going to be a destination distillery. The vision he has outlined to me and where he wants to take this place, it's going to be unbelievable, not just for the industry, but for the city of Danville and everything else. It's really exciting.
Did you have any mentors at all?
I did not. I mean, besides my grandfather, I didn't. I just read a lot, watched a lot of old movies, and did just read a lot and went to school. But I had a big imagination as a kid.
That's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a very collegial industry that people can call each other even if they're going to wind up being competitors and talk it through. But you did it on your own.
Yep.
That's impressive.
I mean, I did it in my garage till about 2013, and then I did have some help. I had Pete Kamer.
Pete's awesome.
He came. He was wonderful. He thought we already had our license and we had our distillery set up, but he came over to my garage because I was more comfortable still doing it in my garage. And we took photos, and there was like, you can't post those. We've now made them public the last couple of years, but he was great. He helped me really take things.
Limitations.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry, you were saying about Pete did what?
So I took it so far, but then he helped me take it to the next level.
Uh-huh.
And then we've had a few other people help me really nail down our mash bills. So, I mean, I've done a lot of it and then got things going, but I can't do it without some really good people, like David.
Yeah, so I'm the guy. I'll still pick up the phone and call some of these guys around here, and
Yeah.
that's what I told him. I missed out of the industry so much. Is You know, when I was coming up through it, it wasn't anything for us to pick up the phone and call somebody over here or call somebody down at this distillery, ask for a little help, or what are you guys facing with this? So, you know.
And that's really important. I mean, one of the things that we're doing is we want to bring back some of the old traditions that were done that maybe some distilleries are getting away from.
Like what?
Like, you know, in some newer distilleries, I might be the master distiller. And I'm choosing not to be because I'm not really doing the work. Even though I'm there, I want our master distiller to be the actual person that's actually making it and that's responsible for the quality.
And it was the same thing. Very important to me when we first sat down and talked. You know, that I'm hands on, I'm boots on the ground, I'm getting dirty with everybody in the midst of it. You know, I told him I'm not a pretty face, so I mean, you're not going to get a pretty face master distiller, Francesco. But you know, he was crazy enough to take a chance with me, and excited to see where it goes.
And then other traditions too, like sharing information and talking to people and being hospitable, things like that.
Yeah, you know that that's what I learned in the early days of it is helping each other out. You know, like I said, I had so many great teachers, operators that you know that you know bent over backwards to help you, and you know want to be able to carry that on and you know bring what I was taught.
All right, so one last question. We just have a couple more minutes. What of the entire line? What are your favorites, both of you? Favorites in the lineup?
Well, I'll tell you right now, my favorite is the signature, and it's an unbelievable pour. I mean, unbelievable on the nose, and at 119 proof, my gosh, you don't get that strong. I mean, it's not knocking you out by any means. It's not going to knock you down. You're going to be really surprised when it goes down. So.
And I mean, for me, I drink all of them all the time, and I've been, I mean, without a doubt, I mean, that's why it's my signature. This is my favorite, and this is why I really worked hard to create this and get it dialed in exactly the way I wanted it. But I've been drinking the Gianna Loren, and that's named after my daughter. Luca Mariano's my son. That's their first and middle names. And so, like, it's very important to me to bring my family into what we're doing. With that said, I have my kids' names on here. I have my name on here. We will never sell the company. This is always going to be held within our family. It's very important to me that we give a good quality experience for everybody to enjoy. But I've been drinking the Gianna Loren a lot lately, and it's been great. But
single barrel rye. That's right at my alley.
We drank that last night too. That's what we did. Yep, awesome. It was good. So,
all right. Gentlemen, thanks for stepping up and pinch hitting. We appreciate it.
Well, here, let's do
we'll do a little toast.
Cent'anni. That's what we say.
Cent'anni.
Means to 100 years of good health, and another way of saying cheers. And thank you for being a part of our company, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. And thanks also to Great Western Malting. Gotta love those sponsors, man. Can't have good whiskey without it, right?
That's right.
No, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you
so much, guys.